Welcome to the Word of Gabb Podcast. Hi there, it's Gab. I'm your multi-passionate friend accompanying you as we dive into adulting. In this podcast, I will be sharing life lessons, tips, and stories to make you feel that you're never alone. So are you ready for some real talk? Let's get started.
Parang blooming tayo Uy, ano sekreto mo? Ba't ang ganda mo lately? Recently, I've been asked by my peers, and alam ko naman na maganda talaga ako ever since. Chareng! But I will share my secret with everybody today. I think I've been glowing lately because I have been working towards my best self. In the past, I've been preoccupied by things that I thought mattered. That's why I put myself last on my priority list. I've prioritized people who don't deserve my love and energy. I've also tried to control everything. And yes, as in everything. It's the perfectionist in me, and I've embodied being that Miss Independent for too long. Recently, I've delivered my first Toastmasters speech, which is an icebreaker speech. It is something that would introduce yourself to your fellow Toastmaster since bago ka nga lang. And I had to think of who I really am. Funny because I had to write a speech 2 days before the delivery day, and grabe, I didn't think I would be able to deliver a speech quite well knowing that I am swamped with work and I had to write that speech. And here's what I said. So the title of this speech is Gift of Gab. Have you ever experienced that moment of nostalgia and existential crisis when someone asks you to introduce yourself? I'm amazed at how we can say, "This is who I am," without truly knowing who we are. So I thought about it. Even in my sleep, I was asking myself, who am I? And how am I going to fit all of me in a 4 to 6 minute speech? Then I remembered a friend in college when we were eating lunch at an eatery, and then I asked her, "I wonder why I'm not most people's cup of tea." She replied, "Kasi mabuti ka, hindi ka mabait." Like a tattoo etched in my brain that stuck. Little did she know that became my North Star. As a recovering people pleaser, I always listen to what others think I should look, think, and act like. When people say my skin is too dark, I will buy all the whitening products and even burn parts of my skin, trying to scrub too hard. My family will tell me to cover up because I'm fat and I shouldn't show some skin. God forbid I show some cleavage. Whenever I share my thoughts, I'm deemed a know-it-all. As we say in Filipino, bida-bida. Even the way I talk was an issue. Obviously, I have a deeper and louder voice than most ladies. Combine that with my rebellious nature of breaking stereotypes and standing my ground, that didn't sit right with everybody. All those outside voices bothered me until a few years ago I realized I didn't have to appease all of them to appear nice. I don't have to pretend I fit the mold they keep putting me in. That moment, I decided to silence their voices and refuse to let them dim my light. So I started living the life I wanted. It all started with getting tattoos. Oh, how much I love these reminders on my skin, as they all have a deeper meaning. I won't share them all because it would take too long and I only have 6 minutes for this speech. And I also started creating polymer clay earrings and sometimes even selling them at art events. Dancing was also one of my passions that I had to hide because I was told that I was too big of a woman. But at 26, I took a femme dance class and then had my recital at SM Skydome. In high school, I was almost denied the opportunity to represent our school at speaking contests, mainly because I wasn't easy on the eyes. I may be the best speaker in school, but our English department's head thought that being pretty outweighs skill. Fortunately, I had people who believed in me, and I was able to speak on stages, which progressed as I got into college. My skills improved thanks to my speech communications professor, who encouraged and inspired me to do more and be more. Now I have my podcast that you're listening to right now. And I'm doing my best to keep honing that skill by being part of the Toastmasters Club. It's amazing how I look back and how that simple sentence from a friend took me to where I am today. I stopped being nice and trying to be what people thought I should be, and did what I wanted to do, be who I wanted to be, all while being good. In everything I do it for myself without the expense of others. In return, I found people who loved me for who I am. I found my tribe. I wake up every day filled with gratitude and a positive outlook in life, and I am more hopeful that there will be a bright future ahead of me. So let this serve as a wake-up call that we should all be cognizant of not letting the voices of others outweigh ours. Today I can confidently say that hi, I am Alexa Gabriel, and they call me Gabby Girl. I am a multi-passionate plus-size morena who is a ray of sunshine to everyone around me. And I hope that as I sharpen my skills further, I will inspire more with anecdotes. And I want to be that ray of light, reaching the right people when they need it the most. So before I leave this stage, I want everyone to know that if someone tries to dim your light, blind them. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. Woo! Wow. I didn't thought that would be that emotional, but that's where I got to. So, thank you for listening to that part, by the way. Thankfully, I was able to deliver that speech despite the lack of sleep and being emotionally and mentally drained. I was actually afraid that I would spiral into another meltdown because that's been happening a lot recently. But thankfully, I didn't. It just reminds me of how I needed to know myself again. I needed a wake-up call. I already had a wake-up call before that speech, which is around June. Yeah, I think as I was working, I saw myself in the mirror and I looked dull. Don't get me wrong, I still think I look pretty, but something's missing. That's when I spent my days thinking of what happened. And then after a bad meltdown around June, I decided to go to therapy. And I'm not going to share everything about that session, but my therapist asked me why I rationalize all of my emotions and why am I so eager to get rid of it. And then that's when it hit me. I have been on autopilot. I have been walking on eggshells for everyone around me. I tried to put on this persona that I think they would like, but I never really stopped to think who I wanted to be. So I did a visualizing exercise that has helped me realign and get a clearer vision as to who I really am and who I wanted to be. And I will guide you through it right now. So the first thing to do is to be in a room or a place where you can be alone with your thoughts and really tune into your intuition. It may be your room or a cafe with your headphones on. The important thing is there will be no distractions. When you're there, get a piece of paper or your journal. Anything you could write on. You can even type this out depending on what's easier for you. And then ask this question or write this question. Who is my best self? This means someone who you might not be right now, but you want to be in the near future. So to answer that, we will be dividing our paper into 3 sections. So we have to divide it into 3 because our best selves would be a combination of different versions of who we are in different aspects of our lives. So if you feel like you want to add more, feel free to do so. But for me, 3 is enough. Another thing you need to prepare is a timer. So in every section, you will only have 2 minutes to write down all the characteristics and activities your best self will do or does in every facet of your life. So, bakit ba kailangan 2 minutes lang? Paano kung ang dami kong gustong gawin? That's the point. Hindi natin kailangan ilagay lahat-lahat. Just need to write down the core characteristics kung sino ba yung best version mo. Ginagawa yung timer, no? Para hindi ka mag-dwell or mag-overthink masyado. And I did this for me to be able to tune in to my intuition because I believe that we already know the person we will be deep down. So as I guide you through each section, feel free to pause, but I will be adding some ambient music for 2 minutes so you could do this exercise while listening to my podcast. So are you ready? Let's dive into the first section. First section is for who is blank for blank. Fill the blanks with your name. So who is Gab for Gab? Who are you for yourself? So I'm going to give you some examples on how I answered mine. So you could do that as well. So number 1 in my list would be I am someone who treats me as my best friend. I am my favorite person and I will do things for my well-being, which means to live a healthy lifestyle, moving more and eating mindfully. I am filled with curiosity as I strive to learn new things every day. I refuse to be stuck in one way of thinking. I am someone who keeps my childlike curiosity and is continually amazed by the littlest of things. I am also overflowing with love for me and others, and that shows as I emanate warmth and sunshine with everyone I meet anywhere, anytime. So those are just examples on my end, and now it's your turn. List down who you are for you. Write at least 3 statements on how your best self shows up for yourself, but it could be more than 3, okay? So the 2 minutes starts now. Alright, now we're gonna proceed to the next section. It will be about who are you at work? So who is Gab professionally? And here are some of my entries. I am an empathetic and wise leader, showing up and serving as an inspiration to my teammates. Number 2 is I encourage my teammates to be the best versions of themselves by giving constructive criticism. And number 3, I am someone who continuously works on herself to be a better leader by joining organizations, reading more books, and accepting feedback from people around me. So how about you? How would your best self show up at work? Again, at least 3 statements and the 2 minutes starts now. So for the last section, it's about who are you for your friends and family. So who is Gab as a daughter, sister, friend, and partner? You have to ask yourself that. Who are you for your social life? For me, I am loving and supportive, but I do not tolerate toxic behaviors. I believe that it is my responsibility to make sure that when someone I love does something ethically wrong, I need to have those hard conversations with them, regardless of how uncomfortable it may be. Number 2 is I will serve as their ball of sunshine, helping them through dark times and reminding them of how great they are. And lastly is I am a safe space for everyone around me. For this last section, write everything about how your best self shows up in your social life and use these 2 minutes to write down as many as you can. So now that we're all done, read everything. So feel free to pause this part. And then as you read through it, analyze the common theme of all the statements of each facet. You can summarize it in one statement, or you can shorten it into a list, or just write the keywords. Or if you are like me, I'd like to keep it as it is. I want it in statement form since I view it as self-affirmations. And then we're done. Make sure to keep this near your workspace or even on your phone, somewhere you could always see it or access it whenever you feel lost. Because this will be your reminder and this would be helpful whenever you are having a hard time making a major decision in life. Use this as your North Star. This will be your guide towards your best self. I know it's not going to be an easy journey. Hell, I know that adulting has a lot of surprises. It's okay to fall sometimes. What's important is you still choose to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep walking towards that best self you envisioned. So I hope this helped. And before I end, I wanted to add like a segment wherein we're gonna be calling it Gabay ni Gab. Chareng. Shout out to one of my friends, Brian, who gave me this idea for a title. This is the part where I share some recommendations. It can be things I've purchased, food I like, places I've been to, etc. Like just something recently that I really, really liked and would love it to share to everybody. So today's pick is being a part of Toastmasters Grand Central. Short story lang. I've been going there as a guest since 2019, but then the pandemic hit. And then everything went to shit. I mean, aware naman tayong lahat, diba, na we can't really go outside, I can't attend meetings, so everything needs to be online, but I didn't want to do online meetings because, attending on site gives a different feeling. So last July, I started attending the meetings again as a guest. Pwede kang umattend bilang guest and walang bayad yon. It's free of charge. Upo ka lang doon. Pakiramdaman mo lang yung kwarto. Feel the vibe of everything. You can even participate dun sa isang part ng meeting, which is table topics. This is the portion wherein you will be doing an impromptu speech that is around 1 minute to 2 minutes long. So, bibigyan ka naman ng table topics master ng pwedeng question or a quote that you could react to or talk about. Masaya din naman maging guest. Tapos, mararamdaman mo yung warmth ng club. Kaya nga ako naging member na this month. Tapos, you get to listen to the prepared speeches of some speakers and you get to hear the feedback from others. Maganda siya kasi there are feedback na pwede mo rin i-apply sa sarili mo. So, you're learning pa rin while listening and observing. And if you want to improve your public speaking and leadership skills, sama kayo sa next meeting namin on September 21. And yun din yung pinning ceremony. Ipipin na nila yung parang induction ganon. And that's a Saturday. And if hindi ka available, we meet every first and third Saturdays of the month. Meron din kaming online, merong on-site, but I would highly encourage you to do the on-site one. So message nyo ako sa IG or sa Facebook if you reach this part and gusto nyong maging member or gusto nyo lang mag-sit-in, gusto nyo lang ma-experience. I'm open, very open to that. Kakayagin ko kayo as your extrovert na nag-a-adapt ng introverts. And I will also link their page dun sa show notes para makita nyo rin online. So that's it for today's episode, and I hope you learned something new about yourself as you do this exercise. If you like these things, just let me know on Instagram at Word of Gabb Podcast, and then share this then sa mga friends nyo or family members who you think needs to do this exercise again. Till next time, bye!
Thank you for listening to the Word of Gabb podcast. If you like this episode, please like and follow on Spotify and share it on your socials. Feel free to tag me at Word of Gabb Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And before I leave, I just want to remind you that if someone tries to dim your light, blind them. Talk soon. Bye!